The CMD, ne, Chairman and Managing Director.
Prakash. 17,
Dr.
Prakash.
15, 14, 13, 10, 9, 8, 7.
BloombergQuint, I am Darshan Mehta. The much awaited deal between Torrent Pharma and Unichem Labs is finally complete. To get us more details on this entire deal, the structure, I'm joined by Dr. Prakash Mody. He's the Chairman and Managing Director of Unichem Labs. Thank you, sir, so much for speaking to BloombergQuint. Deal finally over. How are you feeling now? Happy, relieved, or waiting to go back to work?
I think all of us are banyas. So a deal is not over till the money comes into the bank.
Okay.
So actually our work is starting, because after the binding agreement has been signed, we have to make sure that the deal gets closed, and we have taken an ambitious target of doing it by the latest this calendar year 2017.
Okay, so what are the formalities left before you get in this money now?
No, well, basically whatever we have said, they would like to check and understand the business in much more details, and it's obviously going to be a proper process before this finally closes.
So, but you are confident that it will be closed by the end of the year?
That's the intention on both sides. But you know, there's always an issue in terms of anything can happen. The good part about this deal is there are no regulatory approvals involved.
Okay. The basic question, why sell off? What was the reason to do this?
No, basically I feel that even today I have always said that India is a growing pharma market. And we were very well positioned as far as this was concerned. The question is basically, after our brands reached a particular level, I felt that they have to be managed with a different mindset and skills to take them to the next orbit. So as there is a lot of competition in the industry and the challenges are becoming more interesting for larger players, if our brands could find a home where a larger player could take them to the next level, at the same time, without exiting the business in totality, whatever we have built in the international space, whether it is our plants, our facilities, our research centers, all of that we are able to now leverage with the proceeds of this sale. So we could also play the game again in a very meaningful play on the international space.
Okay, there were a lot of speculations, and I want you honestly to answer whether they are right or wrong, and would want to give you. First of all, the biggest speculation was that you're selling it because there were succession issues. What would you want to comment on that?
Not really, because the point is that I think this whole mindset that only promoters can run businesses is not something which is true. Of course, in the pharmaceutical industry, most of them are promoter run, the larger companies. But at the same time, I feel that there is a good scope for professional management. We at Unichem have always had professional management. And I think that frankly, I have just completed one aspect of the opportunity. I still have another aspect, and which I am going to spearhead and take even the benefit for the organization and for my shareholders even in the second innings.
Okay, but is your succession in place for this international venture, international operations?
Oh yes, of course, because we have a lot of professional managers and there are quite a few people getting groomed up. And obviously, as the territorial expansion is taking place, people's experience is being added to it. Our biggest part is our R&D part, because I don't know if you are aware, but in our Center of Excellence in Goa, we have more than 400 scientists. And from vanilla generics, phase-wise, what we call reverse engineering, we have reached a point where we are now into intellectual property. We have para-IV filings, we have complex generics being worked out. So there is a lot of intellectual value which is being added and which is going to definitely give a benefit to the organization.
What about your family members? Will your family members be part of the international business, or will it be you and a totally professional team?
No, already we have got a part of our international business, which is what we call the pharma emerging markets, where my daughter looks after. And she is being exposed to that. But there is no guarantee that she is going to tomorrow take over the whole business. Because the skill set may be different. Number two, In our days, father did this, so the son was expected to do this. Today, I think the youngsters have so much opportunity to do what they want, that it's not fair to just kind of expect that they will just continue what was continued by their family.
Okay, the second speculation or word on the market was that you're selling this on account of there was significant amount of slowdown in the molecules that you operated in the India market, and probably the government policies that have come out are probably being a deterrent for you to continue this business. So any word on this?
No, I can tell you that today, ever since I have been in this business, the pharma industry has always been subjected to price control. If you remember, from 1963 there has been price control in various forms. And the classical example is that 3 or 4 years ago, our flagship brand Losar came under the national list of essential medicines. That was the time we got really affected volume wise and contribution wise. But today we have bounced back. And therefore today Losar is still a very important part of our domestic portfolio, which I am glad Torrent is going to now inherit. So really speaking, there is no question of any distress here. Everything is basically planned and strategized in terms of what I think to be our future. First thing is to see that what we can do in terms of rewarding our shareholders and then taking it to the next level.
Okay, so that's the most important question that shareholders want. What are they going to get now?
Well, obviously they're going to
Is there going to be a dividend?
Well, you know what it is, that once there is a slump sale, you have to pay the tax, then the company has the proceeds.
Okay.
Those proceeds get divided, in my case, only into two things. One, developing the second business, which I think has great opportunity.
Okay.
And whatever is not required will be returned to the shareholders.
So how much you're getting 3,600 crores? I'm sure you have the calculations at the back of your mind, because without that you wouldn't get into this deal. So there'll be a tax, let's say 20% or whatever.
I can just cut you short by saying more than 50% of what we are able to retain will be given back to the shareholders.
Okay, but do you have a number? What's the plan here? Because that's what shareholders want, because they've been with you through the thin and thick.
Absolutely.
They deserve an answer.
Absolutely.
They want to know what they're going to get.
So what we are saying today is that once this deal is done and dusted, by the next quarter we have our board meeting. You would appreciate the board has to be privy to first what we want to do. So once the board, we discuss this, we will make it public as to what we intend to do with the proceeds.
But they will surely get a dividend.
They have to.
They will get.
They have to. Not only a dividend, we will look at ways of returning back, including buybacks.
That would be something that you would consider. So how much approximately would you look at, because you're saying that you're very bullish on this international operations of the company. There would be significant amount of capex required, because as of now in the global market, the footprint of Unichem is not very big as compared to the other giants that we have. So obviously you will need to scale up significantly there. So that will require significant amount of capital. So what are you looking there now?
No, actually speaking, I don't know if you're aware, but our plants have the adequate capacity and the regulatory approvals, all of them, whether it is our formulation units or API units. What is required is to increase the speed of filings, and those are revenue expenditures, but they are huge expenditures, because today we have nearly 52 ANDAs filed, and we intend to take it to about 100 in next 3 years. Okay, but at the same time, with those investments, I still feel that a good portion will be there to return back to the shareholders.
Okay. Is there any contingent liability or an escrow account you have to create before this deal is fully executed?
No, that is the special part of this. There is no escrow account. There is a total trust and understanding between the two companies. Obviously, there will be what we call CPs, condition precedents, and material adverse events, which is part of any deal. And that is what we have to fulfill the obligation, so that the entire proceeds come to us.
What about retention in terms of employee bonus? Will that be a significant part of it?
No, may I tell you one thing very good about this deal? That all our marketing employees, every one of them is being re-employed by Torrent. So there is not a single layoff.
Okay. No, I'm not talking in terms of layoff. I'm talking in because you're getting these funds. how will they be rewarded? In most some place there's a portion in which there is an employee bonus that happens. So in a 3600 crore deal, there will be a substantial portion which the employees will get. I'm asking you whether that is happening or not.
As I said, those are issues which we need to sort out, which we shall do and come back to you at a later time.
Okay. How many employees did Unichem have before this deal, and post this deal, what will be the number?
We had more than 5,000 employees before this deal. Today, what would remain with us would be around 1,500.
Okay. In terms of the book value now, what you are selling one of the plant also goes down.
That's only the domestic plant.
Yeah. So how much does the book value come down by approximately?
I have no idea about the figures. Please meet my CFO.
Okay, that's fine. Why Torrent?
Well, clearly, if you look at it, Torrent is hungry for acquisitions. They believe that they need to consolidate to get into the top numbers in the Indian pharma space. Most important is two things. One, I think, is they have the bandwidth to really nurture these brands and take them to the next level. Number two, they also have much less of overlap between the brands they are acquiring with their own brands, and most important, the value and ethics of the promoters.
Okay. When did you start looking to sell your company?
We have
I refer to the domestic part.
We have never looked to sell a company. Opportunities have come to us. Opportunities have always come to us. And we have just evaluated, and we felt this was the right time to go ahead.
So you're saying Torrent approached you?
I will. Let's not go into who approached whom. The point is basically that it's not a one-off thing. Obviously, there are opportunities where every different type of investor has approached us, and we thought this was the right fit.
So my point for asking you was, so are you happy with this 3600 crore? Because the street might believe that, an MNC would have offered you much more. So that's where my question was coming from.
My standard answer is, when you want to sell something, any price you think you are getting less, the buyer always feels that he's paying more. As long as two of us are happy with the deal, how is the street bothered who got what and why is somebody happy or not happy? That's my very simple answer.
If you can, were there other companies also in the fray?
Well, as I said, I'm not going to get into those details. Today, this deal is what we are focused on, and this is the deal which I hope gets consummated. Okay,
so what's the plan, broad plan now? What will happen with the international business? How much R&D will happen there? Because I was reading your press release, I think majority of it did indicate that you want to grow significant amount and you'll put in a lot of money towards R&D. So what's the plan now?
Well, certainly there is a clear step up on the R&D plan, and they are all being identified. So whether it is in complex generics, whether it is in new biological entities, we have carved out all of that. And we would be making sure that we step up the R&D, and we'll be able to then get the benefit of that.
Okay. Is there a potential that you would also put your international, I'm just throwing it at the dark, probably you might even not want to answer, but is there a potential that you would look to sell your international business also at a later stage?
See, today if I wanted to sell, I should have sold the whole thing, right?
Yes.
I feel there is still a lot of value to be unlocked in my international business. That's why I'm prepared to take the sort of situation wherein I have confidence that I can build that up. That's why I'm not talking of doing anything right now. Let me build some value, then we'll see.
Give us more details of your international business. In terms of financials, we know the revenue, it's almost 40% of your revenues, but the EBITDA margins are much lower than the domestic business. And is it profitable or is it loss-making?
No, really speaking, the EBITDA margins are lower because basically there are a lot of costs which are absorbed. Today now we have started getting the break-even situation in our subsidiaries. Some of those subsidiaries are purely for having the registrations in those countries, and they are like what we call virtual subsidiaries. America is doing well for us and it's being profitable year after year. Europe still has a little bit of an issue. Brazil will be turning around this year. So we are very clear that it's not a matter of, basically sort of having any loss-making situation.
No, but is the international subsidiary loss-making or is it profitable?
No, there is no one subsidiary. So
no, I'm talking about your whole. So now you'll be left with the international operation. Let's categorize it into two.
Yes.
The domestic business which you sold. and now you're left with the international business, wherever you want, which is left. I want to know the current financial situation and the financial health of only the international business.
Well, certainly the international business is on today a gestation and a ramp-up mode.
Yes.
And I would think that maybe in the next 2 years, we should be able to, because there's another aspect of this, that in order to now support our international business, we would be also selling a lot of APIs in the market,
Okay.
which we have not done up till now.
Okay.
Up till now, we were supporting only our captive part.
Okay.
So those plants are also going to take care of the API needs. We also have a lot of contract research opportunities. We have contract manufacturing. So it's just not one business we are talking about, and we feel certainly it's going to be profitable.
R&D makes a significant part of your cost. Now, since the businesses will be split, majority of your R&D expenses will also need to be split. Because for the US business, you will need separate R&D expenses. So what happens with R&D now? What kind of cost ramp-ups can we see?
Basically, all the R&D till now has been basically only for the developed market. So really speaking, there has not been that investment of R&D for the local market. So all which will happen is there will be more renewed focus on this R&D effort.
So, but apart from it, you're saying, let me get this right. I know I'm repeating this, but I just wanted more clarity here. So you're saying that out of the 3,600 crores, there'll be tax and then there will be the balance money that will come in. I just wanted to understand how much of a capex will you do, because you said most of it is done, most of the R&D expenses is done. So, and I was reading your press release and it focuses a lot on what you want to do there. So how much of a capex or additional capital will you be employing for the international business?
That's what I'm saying. Those plans are being worked out. I would discuss with my board and then let you know what we are thinking. Because there are quite a few opportunities. If tomorrow we get an opportunity to pick up something abroad, which is also going to add to our strength, we may look at that also.
Okay.
But as I said, you cannot pin me down to a number right now. All I'm saying is that taking care of the R&D and the capex needs, whatever is not required will be returned to the shareholders, plain and simple.
Okay. No, the reason I'm asking, and don't get me wrong in any sense here, sir, is that, there have been numerous occasions, not one, numerous occasions in which, slump sales have happened. And the money, there were expense that the promoter showed that, the tax was very high. The expenses were bloated. They took significant amount of bonuses for themselves, their employees. So shareholders are worried. So I'm not pinpointing at anyone. This is a general observation that has been that we've seen, and there have been instances in the near present also. So that is where investors get worried. They want to know if they've stuck with you through the thick and thin, what are they going to get? So that's my plain simple question.
So first of all, I would tell you that we have no such plans.
Okay.
We are very clear that we are not going to get into other businesses.
Okay.
We are going to only stick to the knitting.
Okay.
Okay. So there's no question of any diversion of funds that we are going into because we have funds, we'll go into real estate or do this or that. We're going to stick to what we know, we think we can do best.
That's what you're saying. But are you assuring your shareholders that they will get a substantial amount of dividend, be it dividend or buyback, will they be rewarded?
I think you kept on asking me.
But sir, that's the most important question. I didn't want to annoy you, sir, but that's the basic question that shareholders want.
I have said that you will get more than 50% back by way of benefit to the shareholders.
Okay, so that's finally some good news for the shareholders. The deal is finally done. The management is pretty confident that you, the shareholders, will be rewarded for sticking with the company. With that, thanks for watching BloombergQuint. Thank you so much, sir, for this interview.
Take care.